Diversification of the economy was a common refrain in 2016, and agriculture as a route to diversification was a popular subject on View from the Top.
The only way we can get this yield higher is to move our farmers, the peasant farmers, from subsistence farming to commercial farming, where the farmer is going to the farm thinking that he's going there to put his hard work to make money, not just going there to say, I want to do the farming so I can reserve something I can eat and close my family till the next rainfall. And then we need to now put all these small farmer groups or farmers, small farm holders, landholders, anyone that has less than 100 hectares, I believe is a small farmer. Now they should come together, we should be able to put the efforts together and bring them into clusters or cooperatives, where then we should also develop an irrigation scheme for each clusters of farmers, wherever there is water or dam somewhere by, to be able to assist them to make sure that they can do their exercise or farming throughout the year, not only depending on the rain-fed agriculture, where so many things could distract or change the yield. Now, apart from that also, ensure that they have a good funding from Bank of Agriculture, where that is the speciality of the bank, funding agriculture. Deposit banks, normal deposit intake banks, are not the best for agriculture because a lot of them have a problem with understanding what is agriculture. Mostly they can weigh their other options where they can make more money. Why should they go to agriculture where it's a field they do not understand, it has its own risk, government policy is not consistent, and so on. So it is good for government to be consistent, for Bank of Agriculture to be recapitalized, and then they focus on these clusters. They give them funding at maybe 4 or 5%, no higher than 5%, and also be able to fund the agri-input companies that can supply them higher yield, better varieties, and also with these clusters, they can be able to afford to pay for all the research institutions and College of Agriculture and so on, to give them development, research and development services. Then we will see bumper harvest. The market should be able to have a certain pricing mechanism that they are guaranteed a certain value for their output. Once you can do this to farmers, they will be much more than happy.
Despite all the economic challenges, though, we had reassurances that better days are around the corner.
Personally, I think the only way to go now is up, but there's a difference between economy getting better and things getting worse. I don't think things will get worse because we've seen quite a lot of changes. There are challenges, people are having issues, people are suffering. Somebody called me from the village today and said that they have no food to eat. They can't find corn, millet and eat. I asked him, I said, okay, just for my information, before, where do you normally get corn from and millet from? He said, we normally farm it. I said, so what has happened? He said, oh, well, the farmers don't go to the farm anymore. Because obviously I said the corn and millet that you eat is not brought from somewhere. It's usually grown locally. Because what has sustained our economy is that our local people, who are in the majority in Nigeria, produce what they eat locally. Whatever comes is just subsidize what they do. And I say, why are they not producing? He said, the politicians have spoiled people. So everybody wants to collect now. Nobody wants to go and work. I said, how about you? He said, well, I used to have a farm, but I've given it out to people. I said, you don't farm again? He said, no, it's difficult not to farm. So obviously, for me, it's an adjustment thing. Price of crude has dropped. There's a change in administration, which means change in policy. The economic crisis that we've seen in the last 1 year didn't happen recently. Any sensible person will know that it has been there for more than 3, 4, 5 years, only that it has not been properly addressed. And now people have to address it. And for me, honestly, I have seen changes. You see, we need to build institutions. The problem with Nigeria, I always say it, has to do with governance.
2016 was the year in which we remembered the Dele Giwa assassination 30 years ago. Indeed, it was a watershed in the history of press freedom in Nigeria. Your friend, the late Dele Giwa, suffered the worst possible form of occupational hazard. He was killed. 30 years after, no one has been brought to justice. As we say in Nigeria, have you left everything to God?
You know, a lot has happened since then. It's 30 years now. But a lot of journalists have been assassinated without trace, without anybody being arrested or charged to court. And that is the collateral damage to the non-performance of the government as far as the Dele Giwa issue is concerned. And a lot more people, apart from journalists, have been assassinated. And they have not been able to find the clues. So it's sad, it's very sad, particularly because since the method used, Paso bomb, was novel in Nigeria at the time, it should have been of interest to the government of the day to find out how the Paso bomb got into Nigeria. Was it manufactured in Nigeria? Was it imported into Nigeria? And who did it? But apparently, because it was a state assassination, we cannot arrive at anywhere. And every thinking, reasonable person in Nigeria knows that he was assassinated by the state.
Have you ever thought of the possibility that this might have been done by some other person or persons, and maybe not the then military government, to whom you have been pointing accusing fingers? Is there a possibility that this might not have been the government?
No, the telltale signs were there. I am aware that Dele did receive parcels from the President Babangida, before that day, and these parcels were always sent by Colonel Aliu. And at least on 2 occasions he showed me the parcel with an inscription from the CNC, Commander-in-Chief, to be opened personally by the addressee or by the addressee only. And I've been a witness to 2 of such parcels. So, who could possibly devise a parcel bomb with such inscription except somebody who was in the know about how the president used to send it?
This year was also the year of the Olympics, and sports stars and administrators shared their views with us, some of them speaking exclusively to a Nigerian network for the very first time. What did you learn from sport that you now bring into business?
Courage. Because, you know, in a business, you have to be able to analyze, but in the final analysis is to have that courage to go for it if it's right.
After your retirement in 2002, you did not take the familiar path taken by prior NBA stars. You did not become a coach or a broadcaster. You just retired into a relatively quiet life. Do you miss the spotlight?
I run away from the spotlight. I don't understand why you look for the spotlight. You're more comfortable not to be the center of attention. I mean, but maybe because of my background that you don't like to be I don't like to be at the center of attention. When people bring me to attention, the shyness, you know, you have that. I'm not comfortable. So we are more comfortable when I come to England. I walk around, you know, people don't really know who I am. This is the greatest thing. I love it. Because over here, with my kids, we go to the grocery store, they just see a tall guy, but they don't really know who I am. So I said, wow, this is different. I love the change. So not being in center of attention or getting spotlight, I don't think I'm out of the spotlight, because when I go back to Houston, when I go to the US, I mean, they recognize, but that's just part of my life. But I'm not looking for it.
It's nice to be anonymous sometimes.
It's better.
Hakeem, thank you very much for your time.
My time. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Here now is a big thank you to all our guests in the outgoing year. We thank you for sharing your experiences with us. And to our viewers, thank you for letting us into your homes every week and for your kind feedback always. If you missed some of our programs or you just simply want to see them again, you can catch up with us on channelstv.com or on youtube.com. We look forward to the pleasure of your company again in the new year, and here's sending you all our very best wishes for 2017.